Here we are for an update. It's been a while. I've had a lot of time to ruminate, reflect on where I think that I want this channel to go. Um, yeah, because at the same time, it's not a book channel. It's just more of like a life observation channel in a way, and then documenting some things from my perspective and life experience. So I wanted to talk a little bit about hubris. I think that's a good topic because one of the things I've noticed in the acting world is I've seen this, it's like cycles of time. I always consider myself kind of on the periphery. I am not a member of the union at the moment. I kind of live in a state that is not the center of the acting world. Um, so I kind of get to see this thoroughfare of actors that start and then they kind of zoom to LA, or they make their egress from LA and they kind of settle on into a different type of rhythm. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to be in LA to be an actor. There's plenty of full time ones in different states, Georgia, New Mexico, New York, etc. I'm just using that as an example. So it's kind of funny because I've noticed that there have been multiple times, at least in the history of how long I've been doing this, probably about 8, 9 years, where someone gets a little bit of notoriety or some kind of momentum, and the hubris and the pride overwhelms them and kind of alters their personality. So I've been on some projects, one project a few years ago, where a guy who was the main actor of a film I was in completely changed as a person once he had had a couple more roles and he started doing his own films, and then his Facebook and his Instagram, this is of course when Facebook was more popular, became more notable. So the amount of hubris, this person went from here to here, and it just never ended. And so years later I would meet someone else with a completely different personality type who would go on to take the same course. And I think really there is something to be said for the acclaim of a few people is enough to push you to acting differently. Fame is very similar to like the effect. That's not even fame. These people are not famous. It's just there's that test, I think, of or the statement when people win a lot of money, like the lottery, and their personality maybe changes. I think it doesn't even take you winning millions of dollars to have a personality shift. Your personality, if it's a weaker personality, will shift based off of just a few kind words or a few popular exclamations or a few people kissing your ass. People will shift. And so it's this intense amount of hubris that you see in film and in all worlds, like academia, it could be writing, it could be in any type of professional career. Um, but it's just kind of funny to me that, especially with the acting world, people put themselves on display. And there's that term like pride cometh before the fall. And I'm not willfully hoping anybody has a fall. It's just interesting to witness. And so like the longer, I mean, and it makes sense. Like you talk to some of these older people who are in their 80s or 90s. They've seen historical events, and so nothing really seems to surprise them after a certain period of time. So I'm not near that, but it is the longer you're around in a certain field or whatever, you do see these patterns happening over and over again. And so I wish them well, the people in question that I'm referencing, but it is not a unique story. These things happen and they continue to happen. And if you are in a position where maybe you are comparing yourself to someone, you see that they get their flowers and then they kind of take them and run with them, don't feel like you have to emulate that, because oftentimes when someone sprints to get ahead, they fumble, they fall, they stumble hard. And oftentimes it is those who take a little bit more of a measured approach, those who are a little bit more humble, perhaps those who operate with a degree of mystery, who tend to get further along in their projects, their endeavors, their career pursuits. So, hubris. That's the theme of the day. But I hope to continue to make some more of these, like either daily, weekly thoughts for this channel. Talk about acting stuff, talk about book stuff, just life stuff in general. So, little update today.